The loft. That cost me my family. Do you know what betrayal feels like when it comes from the people you trusted most? Not strangers, not colleagues, but the same family who taught you to walk, who promised they'd never let you fall. Some betrayals cut so deep that the scar isn't visible on your skin but on your soul. My name is Isabella Marlowe, and this is the story of how I lost my family, not to an accident, not to distance, but to their greed. 4 months ago, I stood in the middle of a storm I never saw coming, and the only thing left standing was me, and the home I built with my own 2 hands. But before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to Tales Between Time, because stories like these aren't just mine, they're reminders of strength, choices, and survival. The dream I built. I'm 32 years old. For over a decade, I worked as a data analyst in Seattle, spending 70-hour weeks buried in spreadsheets and code. While my friends jetted off to rooftop parties or flew out to music festivals, I stayed in my tiny apartment, eating instant noodles under buzzing fluorescent lights. Every skipped vacation, every Friday night spent alone with coffee and deadlines. It was all for something bigger. After 12 years, that something stood before me. A 1-bedroom loft. Not rented, not mortgaged, bought outright. $400,000 paid in full with nothing but grit, sacrifice, and sleepless nights. The loft was a mess when I first bought it. Cracked tiles that cut at my heels, buzzing lights that reminded me of dying insects, and the faint smell of mildew. But I wasn't scared of ruin. I saw possibility. My evenings turned into construction shifts. I blistered my hands sanding floors. I spent nights learning wiring from DIY videos. I painted every wall myself, each stroke a declaration. This is mine. This is proof that I exist beyond their shadow. And for a while, I thought that proof would be enough. The summons. Then came the text from my father. His name flashed across my screen like a trap disguised as kindness. Isabella, family gathering at the cabin this weekend. Bring those maple donuts you like. Noon, don't be late. No explanation, no warmth, just an order wrapped in sugar. I asked him why, but he only chuckled over the phone. Just show up, Bella. You'll see. The Marlowe family cabin wasn't just a place. It was a battlefield disguised in cedar wood. My grandfather's old retreat, left equally to me and my brother in his will. That cabin held both warmth and wounds. I still remembered evenings by the fire with my grandfather, his rough hands steadying mine as he taught me how to carve wood. But those good moments always blurred into my brother Daniel's spotlight. The golden boy, the charmer, the son who could do no wrong. When I earned promotions, they clapped politely. When Daniel failed at one more business venture or abandoned yet another dream, they threw him parties just for trying. I worked harder. I buried the bitterness. I told myself my loft would finally make them see me. The nathering. That Saturday, the cabin porch creaked under the weight of too many bodies. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all sipping iced tea from mismatched glasses, their voices filling the humid air. Daniel sat at the center, his hand laced with Mia's, his girlfriend. She had the kind of laugh that could either charm a room or slice it in half. I leaned toward my cousin Leah. Do you know what this is about? Leah shook her head, eyes uneasy. The air felt charged, like the silence before lightning strikes. Then my father stood, glass raised high. His smile was too tight, too rehearsed. Family, we have news, he boomed. Daniel and Mia are expecting a baby and they're getting married. The porch exploded with whistles, claps, hugs. I smiled too, despite the sharp tug in my chest. Happy for him, even if the familiar ache gnawed at me. But then my father's gaze pinned me, cold and calculated. His voice grew heavy, slicing through the cheer. There's more. Isabella, you've got that loft in Seattle now all to yourself. Daniel and Mia need a proper home for their child. It's time you handed it over. The demand. The words slammed into me like a fist. My loft, the home I sacrificed 12 years for. They wanted me to give it away like a hand-me-down sweater. I searched Daniel's face. He stared at the floor. Mia picked at her nails. My mother nodded beside my father as though his words were scripture. You can't be serious, I whispered. You're alone, Isabella, my father said flatly. No family, no children. Daniel's baby needs it more than you do. The ground tilted beneath me. My voice cracked. You're asking me to give up the one thing I built? For myself? For him? Don't be selfish, Isabella, my mother snapped. Daniel's eyes brimmed with tears as he clutched Mia's hand. How could you even think of saying no? We're family. And then came the moment that burned itself into my memory. My father grabbed the steaming coffee mug I had set on the railing. Without warning, he hurled it. Hot liquid splashed across my cheek, my neck, burning my skin. The porch fell silent. No apologies. No one rushing to help. Just eyes, judging, condemning. You're ungrateful, my father roared. You're no sister, Daniel spat. I walked away with coffee soaking my shirt, their words clawing into my back. The breaking point back in the city, I sat in my loft, staring at the scars on my skin, feeling the bigger scars on my soul. My phone buzzed nonstop, texts, voicemails, venom. You're a disgrace. Do the right thing. Give them the loft. After all we've done for you, all they had ever done was take. I thought of the Christmases I spent alone, while Daniel unwrapped expensive guitars, the summers he traveled Europe on their dime while I worked double shifts to pay tuition, the family cabin they lived in rent-free while I stayed silent. The last thread snapped. Taking control. The next morning, I pulled out my grandfather's will. Clear as day. The cabin was half mine. Equal share. They had no right. I called my lawyer, my voice like steel. I want to sell my half of the cabin. The cabin sold quickly. Lakeside property always does. $420,000 split clean down the middle. Daniel used his half to buy a condo. My parents moved in with him, tethered to a mortgage they'd never escape. I funneled my share into investments, ETFs, real estate trusts, building a future on my terms. A future no one could demand from me. The fallout weeks passed. Daniel's daughter was born. My phone stayed silent. No invitation, no photo, nothing. They cut me out completely, and maybe that was the real gift. Now I stand in my loft. The walls I painted, the floors I sanded, the lights I wired. The silence isn't loneliness anymore. It's freedom. Granddad's will was his final message. I see you, Isabella. Even when they never did. Family isn't the people who demand you bleed for their comfort. Family are the ones who let you live without asking you to burn. If you've ever had to choose yourself over the people you loved most, tell me. How did you rebuild? Subscribe to Tales Between Time for more stories of strength, survival, and the choices that shape us.